Well, now joining us here, he's new A's Hall of Famer, Barry Zito. Barry, welcome back to the program. Hope you are doing well, and congratulations on this honor.
Thank you so much. This is awesome, man. I was so pumped when I heard the news recently, and yeah, I'm excited to get back there and go through everything, see everybody.
You know, when you think about your career as a Cy Young Award winner, you think about the World Series, you think about the All-Stars. This is just like finally icing on the cake, and you're going to go in with the two guys, with Tim Hudson and Mark Mulder, the three of you, what you guys meant to each other, what you meant to each other's careers on and off the field, your lives. Just how big is it? Not only are you going in, but you're going in with two guys who are like your brothers.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that none of us would have it any other way, right? Huddy or Mulder, because we were all just, we were part of something greater, certainly with the big three, but even more with the team and everything special that we did, with the playoffs, most of those years that we were together. Yeah, I mean, it was always something bigger than us.
You know, it's been interesting talking to you over the years because obviously you have the new interest in music. You turn the page after your career. Not everybody does that. A lot of people like to stay in the game or they reminisce a lot. You've kind of moved on. So when you now think back, do you ever get that time to really think back about your career, about how great you were, an honor like this, why you're getting this honor? Have you been able to step away from music at all ever and really remember what it was like, Barry Zito, the baseball player?
Yeah, I think it's been healthy for me to have something new because it has given me a more clear perspective of, the past life that was baseball. And I think if I was still in the game, I would have there'd be some tension there for sure. I think most of us that leave the game, there's always tension. It's just hard, and rarely any of us leave on our own terms. And so it's really allowed me to step out of it, kind of not really even know the names of people playing on TV anymore and all that. But in a healthy way, it allows me to fully appreciate what I did instead of feeling like maybe that I'm still mad that I didn't do this, and this, right? And I think that feeling would be a little more on me if I was still in the game, right? Because you're just kind of still in it, right? It's like everyone's still looking at you. You're still in front of the camera. So it's been really helpful to have this new passion.
It's so funny how so many of the great players, and it happens in all of sports, right? I heard Jack Nicklaus talk about this once, going, yeah, I won 18 majors, but I remember the ones that I should have won and the ones that I lost. It's amazing how so many players, you don't always recall the good stuff. You remember, man, if I just would have done this or done that. You had such an unbelievable career, Barry.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you rewinded 20 years, right? Or, 25 years, I'm in high school or whatever, middle school, and you're like, hey, this is going to be what it is. Would you be stoked? Be like, oh, dude, that'd be epic, right? But then you get there, and I think that's the thing that makes you stand out in any field is that your expectations or your vision is so much greater than maybe people might think, right? So that when you achieve a thing, yes, you're excited, but you're also like, okay, this is exactly what I'm going for. Now, what are we going to do now? Right. And it's always the what's next thing. So I think that helps you get to those higher places. But I also think that it can be a double-edged sword because sometimes you just want to be fully grateful and enjoy being on the field, right? Instead of like, oh, I have to do this. This is what I was made for. It's like, dude, no, hold on, man. Like, just take it in, breathe it in, look around, look at these fans. This is amazing. And I think that's the part you miss out on sometimes is to truly be there and experience it.
And it was a beautiful story with the A's when you played for them, right? It was the little engine that could. It became such a good story. They did a book about it. They did a movie about it. Now, obviously, they didn't mention how great the pitching was and that Miguel Tejada was going to be the MVP and that kind of stuff. But still, we were just talking about it on NBC the other day about how, you guys were way back on May 30th. And then, of course, you win 20 straight games. But there was just such a special time of A's baseball where you guys came together. You were going up against these big money teams. You were competing. You were going to the playoffs. You were so good. Talk about that time because it really was not only a special time in this organization's history, but it also was a special time in baseball.
Yeah, and I don't think that's something that we knew, right? Because a lot of times when you're in it and you're kind of head down focused, you don't know the impacts that you're making, or the kind of like when you're driving the boat on a lake, you're not really paying attention to the water behind you that's been moving as a result. And so, and I think that helped us. And it's funny, I don't remember being kind of back on May 30th. I don't remember that we didn't start out great. It's the kind of things that you forget about a little bit. You remember the high moments sometimes during those seasons, but the way that we came together every year, from my early years, like in 2000, we came together. You know, we won a game in Yankee Stadium in the playoffs, right? And we kind of lost a heartbreaker at 5, and then 2001, you know, the Seattle Mariners won like 150,000 games, and you know, we still managed to get the wild card. I think we had over 100 wins. You know, 2002, right? Like you're talking about the 20-game win streak, the way that, you know, Hatterberg can, that thing. It's like every year was just a different, amazing story that was playing out. Yet while we were living it, we didn't totally know what was going on. But looking back, we're like, wow, that was really special.
And I just think about all the different guys that you played with inside the Athletics clubhouse. It always seemed to be a very unique and special group that got along so well. So just talk about, you know, what it was like being in that clubhouse and how special it was, what all those guys meant to you.
Yeah, they were. I mean, you know, ever since I really signed, you know, in 99, I started to meet some of these guys that I would end up being on the major league field with. All right. My first true buddy was Eric Burns, who I played against when I was in college. He took me deep when he was with UCLA, and he was in third, and Troy Gloss was hitting fourth. And I'll never forget the homer he hit off me in Santa Barbara. And he didn't forget either, because I remember that first time we kind of hung out in minor leagues. You know, he reminded me of that in true Burns fashion. But you know, after that, it was Adam Pyatt. You know, me and Adam were roommates in AA, and then coming up to AAA, I met Mulder for the first time when I got called up to AAA, and he was a little bit ahead of me at that point. As far as the draft and all that stuff, he was a year before me. But, you know, I met these guys on the way up. Like Terrence Long was another guy I met in AAA. And I never would have known that these are the guys that would have been kind of surrounding me on the field in my first few magical years in the big leagues. And then even like the free agents we signed just fit right in. I mean, Jermaine Dye was a guy who just fit in. Johnny Damon. You know, some of these guys just became such character in the clubhouse. And you know, whoever was scouting not only the players and their skills, but more about their personalities was dead on. I mean, obviously it was Billy and Paul probably doing that, but these guys just, I mean, they just came into the clubhouse, and we were already so tight in there.
Well, and then the big three, as close as you guys were, but also how you pushed each other, that no one wanted to be the weak link, and it was all about greatness. And just talk about what they meant to you in your career, what you meant to them. It was something special that the three of you had that bond.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, Hudson was the kind of guy that set the tone. I think he came up first in 99, and obviously had that big split finger. And you know, me and Mulder were wherever we were at that point, watching him on TV and being like, wow. And then, you know, then Mulder came up after that, and then I came up kind of more in the middle of that 2000 season. And I think that we didn't really know that we were going to be together. But I think, you know, once the rotation established itself at the end of that year in 2000, you know, and all of us were pitching in the playoffs, we're like, oh, okay, this is like kind of a special thing. Like we're all, you know, 22, 23, 24, whatever it was, pitching in big postseason games, right? Not just having games in the regular season.
I mean,
I think part of it,
you're at Yankee Stadium, you're at Fenway Park, you're in the biggest venues in the game.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and I think part of that was that we didn't totally know what we were going up against, right? You're just young, you're like shooting for the stars, you're trying to get to the big leagues. And when you do, you're trying to just like, oh my gosh, I've been watching guys on TV, you know, for years. Now I'm pitching against them. So it's very surreal in the early stages of being in the big leagues, because you're just running on full adrenaline, you know, and I think all of us were doing that. But it was really fun to watch Mulder, like on Friday, kind of his sinker, and then like let's say Huddy would come through on a Saturday, day after, and he's trying to make sure he holds up his end of the deal. And then if I was watching a Sunday day game, so in a way it was like we were competing, but really it's like we just didn't want to be the guy that was going to screw it up,
Well, and the reason why I always like to bring up that why it was such a special time is that we have now realized, Barry, through the years that all these different guys who are now running baseball teams and guys who are in these front offices, they all got into the front office because they watched that era of baseball, and then the book and the movie came out. It inspired everybody to want to build teams like the A's, build like the teams that you're on. So that's why I always bring it up. It really was a special time in baseball that we still talk about today with a lot of, I mean, they're not young anymore. I mean, obviously they're a lot older, but when they were growing up, that was when they were watching it. Speaking of Sacramento, with the River Cats here, a lot of your guys' jerseys still hang up here in and around the offices, and there's different places from that show memorabilia for when you guys won. The River Cats were very successful when the A's were the affiliate. What do you remember about playing in Sacramento back in the day?
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget that because the first year that stadium was built was my first year, first full season in pro ball. And so, we were slated to start. I was excited, to start in AAA after my training, and but the stadium wasn't done. So we had like a 6-week road trip because we couldn't play home game. So I just remember them telling us this, and literally packing like 2 suitcases, like the biggest suitcases, and just like, okay. I mean, our road trip was so long in the PCL that we were hitting cities 2 times in that road trip. And we're like, yeah, we're still on the road. And and AAA is great, but the hotels are not great. And especially when you go to some of those cities back then. I remember specifically like El Paso was definitely a little rough. Some of these places were pretty rough, but yeah, and we finally got to play at what was Rayleigh Field at that point, and it was just like, oh, it's like we could appreciate it so much more because they've been holding out for so long. And but yeah, I got called up to the big leagues, playing on that team, and some very fond memories. Ironically, I was in Vegas when I got called up to the big leagues, and I was doing the gun, me and a guy named Marcus Jones, and I got news that I had gotten called up and was going to pitch at home against the Angels, and I'll never forget that day, man.
That is awesome. Yeah, you can only go through El Paso so many times before we got to get home.
Yeah, exactly, man. Not to mention there was an absolute airport of the park too, so it's like not only the city wasn't great in the hotel, but my gosh, pitching there was a nightmare.
So how are things going now with you in the music career and the writing? How are things going in Nashville?
Things are going great. Yeah, they're going great. My life's been on pause a bit. My wife and we got 4 sons, and one of them has gotten sick with some autoimmune stuff. So I've not been in the studio for 6 months. It's been very trying time in our lives. But we're seeing signs of him improving. And it's definitely like a hard reset right now because I think I took about a week off after I retired, and then I started writing songs every day in Nashville. So I feel like I'm experiencing maybe the lull that I perhaps should have after I retired from baseball, to really be at home with the family, say, what is this whole after baseball thing? But I'll go back to music and get back in the studio eventually, and just having a blast producing artists and writing for artists, and doing that kind of stuff. It just fills me up.
Well, I'll tell you something that should put a big smile on your face. All the time here at the ballpark, we play your song Ballpark Kids, and to see the camera. And so on that, they built a new big, wait till you see, the park doesn't look like when you played here. So they made it for, it's big league, right? So they got the huge screen out there, and they pan around to the outfield where all the kids are and all the families are on the berm. And as they play Ballpark Kids, it shows all the kids and all the families here at the ballpark. It's been great seeing all the young kids, because a lot of these kids are coming to a Major League Baseball game for the first time. So we play your ballpark kids, and we show all the kids around the ballpark. It's really special.
Oh man, I love that. You guys shoot me a video of that or something. That would be cool to watch. Send it to my co-writers. Super fun song, man. I really love it that we got to write that song. That's awesome.
No, it is special. Well, you'll see it when you're here. We'll make sure we play it.
Yes.
Congratulations. It's such a huge honor, that you'll live forever with this organization. And as I look up now, not far from where I am right here, you see Reggie Jackson and Ricky Henderson and Dennis Eckersley, and you think of all the greats who have played in this organization and the Hall of Fame ceremony. I got to MC it last year. It's very emotional. If you can get Jose Canseco to be emotional, it tells you what it means. So I'm just going to get ready. It's going to be the speech. There's going to be tears. It's going to be big for your family and for your kids to really remember how great Dad was on the baseball field. They're going to get a chance to see that. So congratulations.
Wow.
and going in with your two brothers. I know it's going to mean a lot. So thank you for your time. As always, we always appreciate it.
Yeah.
And can't wait to see you on that day. And congratulations.
Chris, thanks so much, man. Can't wait to be out there. We'll see you guys in a few short months.
The great Barry Zito right here on A's Cast Live.